Hey, this is Robert Monroe, and I wanted to do a video on musical themes in video games, TV, movies, whatever. And I thought the coolest thing that I could bring to this, because I know a lot of people have done this, is doing it more based on ideas and knowledge that you can then take and just dump on unsuspecting friends, and so they can know how smart you are.
Knowledge.
So, in all seriousness, let's get going right away with this. But before we get into the first theme, I need to bring up a general overarching concept that will be used quite a bit in this series and in this particular show that we're doing right now. So, and that is what I consider to be the purpose, the idea behind music and how it works. And that really is this idea. It's not really new for me. It's just a general idea, and that is we have a key, like C major, and we go from here to 5, which is G in this case, and then back to 1. What that does is we start, everything's fine and dandy, conflict, resolution. All right, let's get into it. So I want to talk about succession. So if you're not familiar with it, this is the way the theme sounds. All right, so that's the general idea. And there's 3 things that I want to talk about. They all will have a buzzword, don't worry. Something you can just throw on your friends and they'll be like, how is he so smart? So the first one is we use a chord progression elision. Okay, so let's talk about that. So we have this chord progression here. If you don't know what chord progression is, it's just a series of chords in a row. We have C minor, A flat, F minor 6, G7, and these end up creating a loop that goes on and on and on in a row. When we get to the end, it doesn't feel like the end because we start right back over right here. And it can go on. And this is what the show does a lot. When people are talking and they want to give a sense of foreboding, they just keep going with this. The other thing I like about this is it's a very square chord progression that really reminds me of the classical era. You know, stuff like this. You know, stuff like that. And I think they did that on purpose because there's a sense of old school power and sort of the lust for power and just this idea of, you know, there's the important people and then the little people. It just feels very classical, very, I don't know, like Elizabethan or like, you know, super old school. So I think they're using that classical sound in that way. So that's the chord progression. Let's talk about a few other things. I think the most striking thing of the theme is that opening bar, that whole thing. And they even do that sometimes. They'll do it 3 times in a row, like that. So what's happening there that's creating that really intense sound is 2 things. One is they're using a very high point on the piano, and then they're adding in an extra note, this B, along with the C. It gives a very harsh sound, and that's because this is kind of a wrong note. We just want this, but we're getting that B with it as well. That's not really being interpreted, in my opinion, as part of the chord. Like, it's not like a C minor major 7 chord, something like that. It's actually being interpreted almost like the piano is out of tune, or there's a mistake being played. And I think this is really clever, and it goes to support the drama of the show because something's kind of wrong with every character in the show, and it's played a lot for laughs and a lot for drama, but it really comes through in this theme. If it was just this, a lot of that drama just disappears. But this, you got it all there. All right. Then we have our final idea, our third really important concept for this theme to make it come across so intensely for the show. And that are non-chord tones. To me, this is actually the most iconic thing besides that opening note. And that is every time the melody does a little turn, it hits a note that doesn't really belong. Every single time, every major point, it's hitting a wrong note. And those wrong notes are called non-chord tones when you're doing music theory. And the reason why they're called non-chord tones is melodies have them all the time. These wrong notes are not really wrong notes. They're this point of tension, this point of dissonance that forces us to continue listening. The same way the show is constantly putting the characters in really painful situations where they have to react and respond and grow, or not grow, let's be honest, and change. So let's go through and count these. So first one, there's the first one right there, and then this D with the A flat chord, and then G flat, and then the G with the F, and then the D flat. I love this one. And then this is actually pretty... I did that not right because it's supposed to be rhythm, but that's okay. You get the idea. And then now it's all lined up. So it's like one time through, very dissonant, melody goes against everything, and then just kind of chill. So what that really is doing is it's kind of creating this spinning effect. Every time we get to a place where we're supposed to kind of relax, we get put more on edge. We want to relax, we get put more on edge. And so those are all non-chord tones. In kind of summation, what we really have going on in this is a classical chord progression being used in a pop music style of elision where it just keeps going around in a circle forever and ever. And then we have these grace notes going in, the long note. And then we have all these non-chord tones. So now, here's a little extra credit, because I like to write music. Can I, on the spot, I have not rehearsed this at all, come up with my own Succession-like theme that we could throw on a TV show? Sure, let's do it right now. And I think what we should do to kind of add a little bit of spice to this is we're going to use a major version of this. So let's just go in the same order that we talked through these different elements. So first, let's pick a chord progression that naturally loops back in on itself. So 1, 2, 4, for no reason, 7. It's not quite as classical as the other one, but we'll get the job done. This will be fine. So now that we have that, let's add in some grace notes into this. So maybe something like this. It's got a certain quality to it. Again, not as iconic as Succession, but hey, I'm making this up on the spot. So now, let's add in this non-chord tone sort of evolving melody to it. Something like this. Oh, see, there, I messed up. Because I landed right on it. So then... And again, we're being a little silly here, but you get the idea. Already, we get something that has the same character. It's not quite as enthralling, but that's because, again, I'm writing this real time right now. So that's what we have it. There's our succession. Also, minor is way better for this than major. All right, well, there we have it. So if you like this sort of thing, I'd love it for you to subscribe. And actually, what would be super helpful is leave a comment below on what theme you think I should do next. I'm planning on doing these hopefully weekly. We'll see how the schedule works. And I'd love to see what you come up with. I'm not the biggest TV watcher. It typically takes quite a few recommendations for me to watch something. So I will definitely need help coming up with more themes to mess with. But in the meantime, you guys have a great day, and I'll play us out.